watching on Periscope or YouTube, you guys can always leave me a message. You can comment during the stream. That's how I know that you're there, because I am restreaming. And that's the only way that I care. So you could just write, hello, tell me where you're from, tell me you're alive, ask questions. If you're watching an archive of this on YouTube, please feel free to hit subscribe, share, and leave a comment. That allows other people to see the show in their feed. All right. So guys, I'm just going to state briefly once again how much I hate politics and why. I'm not going to get into a whole discussion about it today, but I am going to bring up a point that plays into it, the Dunning-Kruger Effect. However, outside of that, let me just say that with the announcement of the Biden's vice president running, Kamala, I don't know her name. The reason I hate politics is it's all of the grifting and all of the people getting worked up about people who do not care about them whatsoever. And then the double talk and the backpedaling and the hypocrisy of people who gets in such a frenzy over this whole debate and the whole procedure, because they get so wound up by the media, they almost become deranged, so to speak. And I don't like inconsistent people around me, because that adds trouble for you. So here's the thing, and I'm going to get to the Dunning-Kruger effect in a second here. We like principled people because their principles and actions are predetermined by their principles, by their belief system. We like people who have predictive behaviors. That allows us to feel safe around them. When we know how they think, or they think like us, and we understand the moves that they make, we feel safe around these people. It gives us a sense of certainty with nature, which is so uncertain. And we look for patterns. We look for patterns in everything that we do. Patterns allow us to feel safe. They're predictive. In fact, our brains are so wired for patterns that it places patterns where there isn't any. That way, we will make patterns out of nothing. Think back to a civilization before science, when you had ceremony and tradition and things like a rain dance. What is a rain dance? A rain dance is a tradition and symbolism and ritual that people felt would cause a pattern to work so that there would be rain, so that their crops would flourish. It is even before we had a grasp on science as we know it today and the scientific method. Those patterns allowed us to build civilization. Those patterns allowed us to feel safe. So when I see people act in a fashion that is not predictive to who they say they are, which, right, they're phonies, then I get dismayed about who that person is. It is important for us to live up to who we say we are and live up to our principles so that we allow others to feel good around us. Charlie has joined us. Welcome, Charlie. It's good to see you. Free Candy over in Austin. Welcome. It is good to see you as well. Today we are discussing the Dunning-Kruger Effect and just a little rant that I had to go on. about principles and predictive behaviors. And so yesterday, during Twitter's announcement of Kamala as the running mate, I saw a lot of behaviors that were not predictive, that were inconsistent to the point where people are placing up tweets comparatively to show the inconsistency. How can you take these people seriously when they're not even worried about being consistent on Twitter? Now, does that mean that you can't change your mind? Well, of course you can change your mind. However, if you're going to be inconsistent, or if you're going to flip-flop, admit your fault or admit your change. Don't act as if it's always been there or this is who you've always been. That is deceitful, and I can't stomach that. Matt Pez says, what about me? Well, what about you, Matt? Now, welcome to the show. It's good to have you here with us, my friend. If you are in YouTube or Periscope land, you can always leave me a message so I know that you're there because I'm restreaming. If you're watching an archive of this, then you please subscribe to the channel, leave me a message, shoot a comment, hit the share button. This allows others to find the show. So why did I bring this up today? And what does this have to do with the Dunning-Kruger effect? Well, how many of you guys know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is? The Dunning-Kruger effect is a phenomena that is well documented, that we're all guilty of from time to time, but it states that people who have low IQ tend to rate their abilities of things that they're not very versed in rather high. They overestimate their abilities. Okay? That's fine. We tend to overestimate a lot of our abilities. How else are you supposed to give things a try if you don't overestimate your confidence in yourself? It takes a little bit of arrogance to put yourself in the arena to get your ass kicked. And it takes a little bit of arrogance to show up knowing that you don't know what you're doing. And that arrogance can go a long way. I would say that you need a healthy bit of arrogance in life. A healthy bit of arrogance can lead you into a life of learning. However, don't be so arrogant that you're ignorant. So that it is okay to overestimate some abilities as long as you realize once you're in the thick of things that you are failing miserably and that perhaps it's time to switch gears from doing to learning so that you can get better at it. Now, why did I bring this up? Well, people who tend to overestimate their abilities are going to do a poor job, or at least a poor job to other people. They're going to come up short. Here's the problem. People who have a lower IQ, who are going to overestimate their abilities, certainly in areas that they are not competent, are also going to want to protect their own ego. So once they come up short, they're going to have to look for reasons for why they have failed, why it didn't turn out the way they thought, why it wasn't up to other people's standards. If you have the audacity to overestimate your abilities and then begin looking for reasons why you've come up short, looking for excuses, then you are unwilling to take responsibility for what actually happened. And if you're unwilling to accept responsibility for your abilities, for your overestimating, for you being incompetent in an area that you grossly overestimated that competence, then you're unwilling to take accountability, which means you're going to dump it off anywhere that is convenient, that you feel works for your excuse. So that is two things. We have incompetence matched with unaccountability. Incompetence matched with unaccountability equals somebody that you should avoid at all costs. You know why? Because it's only a matter of time before they paint you as the reason or the excuse for why they have come up short. Not their own. It's not on them. It's on you. So they are going to blame you for their shortcomings. Now, I bring this up. I especially bring it up after seeing what I had seen on a lot of the inconsistencies and unpredictable behaviors and hypocrisy that I had seen yesterday. Now, because I handle a lot of AOC's social media, specifically Twitter, and I interact over there, the mediums it can be fun. However, politically, it's horrible, and everyone who are involved in politics over there are wildly inconsistent. And what's funny about it is I got depressed. I got angry. I got mad yesterday at how much hypocrisy, inconsistency, and well, I had seen those attributes yesterday, and it really brought me down, and it made me. This is the black pilling, so to speak, the doom threat I get when I see such behaviors, and I have to remember. In my regular life, when I see these behaviors, I avoid these people. I block them. I unfriend them. I unfollow them. I don't have to deal with anymore, because once I realize somebody is that ignorant, that they're willing to be so inconsistent, unprincipled, and Hippocratic, then did I use the Hippocratic in the right word? But to show their own hypocrisy, I avoid them. I leave. I get out of that situation. Why? Because it's only going to bring you down. It is only going to mark you as a target sooner or later for their own inadequacies. This is why also, if you find yourself around people who tend to start drama, who look for drama, or just who always seem to find themselves in drama as if it just follows them around. Yes, I'm being sarcastic. Drama just doesn't follow people around. They engage in it. They stir it up. They create it. Maybe unknowingly. Regardless, that is still on them. Once you realize that you are the common denominator of all the drama, then you will hopefully quit. Now, why did I bring this up? Because once I see these attributes, once I see these behaviors, I avoid these people. When it comes to folks who always find themselves in drama, they tend to be charismatic, lighthearted, fun people to be around. They're able to bring people in. This is why they're always surrounded in drama. To be surrounded in drama, you're going to need dramatic people. You're going to need people to come around, and then you create chaos in their world. How do you create chaos? You're inconsistent. You're a hypocrite. You overestimate your abilities. You blame your inadequacies, shortcomings on other people. You You blame your poor performance on other people. In order to blame it on other people, you have to sucker them into your world. How do you do that? By being quite charming, by being quite charismatic. This is the whole idea of the narcissism spectrum of on one side being sociopathy, on the other side, a healthy narcissism. What do I mean by healthy narcissism? Is there such a thing? It goes to the overestimating of your abilities or being a bit arrogant. Healthy narcissism is the way of tapping into the dark arts to be able to con your own self into taking on some things that probably are a bit scary. Entrepreneurs dive into the world of the dark arts all the time, even in relationships. Sometimes you realize that being a bit manipulative will get you what you want. Is it the right thing to do? Possibly, sometimes. If there is no one size fits all. Here I am talking about consistency or being principled. There are ways of diving into the dark arts to show up, to learn things, to jump in the arena that could be quite difficult or nerve-wracking for the normal person to do. This is why not everyone is an entrepreneur. Any type of self-development. There are worlds of learning, self-development, entrepreneurship, bodybuilding, learning new skills. All of these things put yourself in a position to get your ass kicked, to throw yourself into the arena and look bad, to lose, to come up short. Now, if you realize what you're doing, you've built a healthy sense of humor for yourself, you can get up, persevere, shake yourself off, learn something for what you just did, and try it again. This is where healthy narcissism can play a role. That idea of being a bit arrogant. You just don't want to be so arrogant. Where's the line? I don't know. The line between your arrogance and your ignorance is for you to figure out. That line isn't the same for everybody, and your self-awareness dictates where that line is. I would say that if you haven't been reflective, if you're not very self-aware, then that line between the two is quite far apart. Your arrogance reigns supreme with your ignorance. But as you become self-aware, as you learn about yourself, as you begin to take accountability for what you know and what you don't know, then the line between arrogance and ignorance, the field there gets smaller. So because you begin to know and get comfortable with what you don't know. And that's okay. Knowing what you don't know doesn't make you any less of a person. In fact, it makes you more of a person. This is why in self-development, the idea of reflection and being honest with yourself about who you are, who you want to be, and what you know and what you don't know, and what you're going to need to know to become the person you want to be, is where the magic happens. It's not about finally learning that skill. It's about coming to terms with not knowing that skill and learning that skill. That's where the magic is. That's where the fun is. That's where the hero's journey is. You get bored once you learn the skill. Once you've learned the skill and you've mastered the skill, you get bored. That's why you start looking for something else to learn. So with Dunning-Kruger effect, you want to be aware of that. You want to be aware of that in the people that you have around you. Do you have friends or acquaintances in your social circle who seem to never really take accountability for their shortcomings or falling short of tasks, and then start to look for excuses and then build excuses upon excuses? These are people to avoid. They're going to make you miserable. And in fact, at some point, it's only a matter of time before they put a target on your back as to you're the excuse. This is when, even if you are their best friend in the world, and you might say to yourself, Jim would never sell me out like that. Jim would never do me like that. Jim has my back. Jim is my friend. I could never see Jim painting me that way. Okay. Well, I will tell you, especially when it comes to drama, once everybody else has been repelled from that person, once they have went through their list and there's no one left but you, and if you're tight, if you've remained close friends, there had been no reason for you to think that this was going to come your way, that their excuse making was going to rear its head to you. But when it does, you'll be awfully surprised. You'll feel awfully betrayed. And you will also, with hindsight being 2020, will have realized that you have seen all the signs to what was about to happen, and you decided to ignore them. Now, here's where your Dunning-Kruger comes into effect. How many times are you willing to allow that to happen to you before you quit making excuses for a pattern that you've recognized where you are the common denominator? You see, it's all one giant circle until you break the loop. This is why self-perpetuated closed loops will always continue to spin out of control until you decide that you've had enough. This is the old Eastern philosophy idea. I think it was Confucius who brought up this idea. And I've seen this idea in other philosophies, but his is the best because it was, at least it sticks out to me. I think it was on a fortune cookie. But it's the idea that you will continue seeing the same problems over and over again until you've beaten it, until you've recognized it, until you're willing to do something about it. So look into Dunning-Kruger Effect. Look into the people that you have selected to be around you. Are they hard principled? Are they consistent? Are they predictive in their behavior? Are they hypocrites? Are they willing to admit when they were wrong in the past? We're all going to be wrong. And that's a big point in this. We're always going to be wrong. We're always going to be people who make mistakes. We're going to continue to challenge ourselves and come up short on a regular basis if we decide to really live our lives. But with those mistakes, with that learning, with coming up short, with exposing our vulnerabilities and shortcomings, are we willing to be the first one in the room to raise our hand and say, that was on me. That is my fault. I can get better, and here how I'm going to do it. To admit fault and show the learned message, learned to show what you have learned in that failure to be better to yourself and to the people around you. The people around you, really, all they really want from you, if you do happen to be inconsistent, when you do happen to make mistakes, when you do come up short, I know for myself, I say it all the time, I just want people around me to take accountability for when that happens. It's a big deal. So, guys, it is great to see you all. I got to go. If you enjoyed what I talked to today, Tally says it sounds like a reason for the PIP plan for your own personal improvement plan. Yes, incompetence with no self-awareness certainly sends you to the PIP room. All right, guys, I got to go. I got a lot of things to do today. If you enjoyed what I had talked about today and you want to learn more or want to experience our X Factor program, which is a year-long mentorship program where we teach all these skills and mindsets to bring out the best traits in you, hit me up. Send me a message on Twitter or Instagram with the words X Factor, or just shoot me a message and say, hey, tell me more. I will see you guys. No, I won't be here tomorrow. I got a busy day. I have a meeting at 8. So I will see you guys on Friday. Enjoy your day. Enjoy. Is it Wednesday? It is Wednesday. Have a great one, guys. See you all tomorrow.